The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Government backtracks on IRCA powers and amends the electricity bill, and the jury in the MP's rape case is discharged. In our interviews later, we're talking about an upcoming evangelical event, and in our 9 o'clock hour, we're talking water and sewerage. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robards filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's May. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan. In a moment, we'll see who joins me today. I don't know. But also this morning, in Morning Blend Business, we will be talking with water and sewerage about climate change and how they're dealing with that, and a Faith Over Fear seminar in our 8:30 hour. We'll see what that's all about. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. And in the overnight, members of Parliament last night passed the Electricity Bill 2024, not long after the government brought an amendment to address concerns raised about a section of the bill that would have removed the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority's power to approve tariff rates for a 3-year period. The amendment changes the original wording of the section that provided a 3-year regulatory holiday to electricity providers in the setting of their rates. Minister of Energy and Transport JoBeth Colby-Davis, who moved the amendment, said the government wanted to bring clarity to the issue to, quote, remove any uncertainties and affirm our dedication to transparency and regulation. We are providing clarity to the bill's language. She said, both bills were tabled in Parliament last week. In addition to the electricity bill, the natural gas bill was also passed. Colby Davis said, quote, it is essential to understand that all rate tariff structures must be submitted to ERCA, given its role as an independent regulator. The existing rates will be maintained for the next 3 years. During this period, BPL will conduct a comprehensive tariff review to ensure that it's fair and equitable for all consumers. Should BPL wish to adjust any rates before the 3-year period concludes, they must submit a rate case to ERCA. And a judge yesterday discharged the jury in the trial of North Aberco MP Kirk Cornish. Cornish denies allegations that he raped, assaulted, and threatened to kill a former girlfriend last year. Justice Renee McKay discharged the 6 men and 3 women selected to decide Cornish's fate after learning that one of them was closely connected to opposition leader Michael Pintard. The move came after Cornish's former girlfriend claimed that he spat in her face after raping her when she took the witness stand on Tuesday. The woman was expected to resume her testimony yesterday, but the jury was discharged. McKay is expected to fix a date for retrial on May 8th. And as Prime Minister Philip Davis opened the debate on the Electricity Bill 2024 and Natural Gas Bill 2024 in the House of Assembly yesterday, he said the new measures will pave the way for lower electricity bills and a more reliable and cleaner energy supply. Davis said the bills are part of the most ambitious energy reform agenda ever initiated in our history. He said, quote, the objectives are clear. We want to lower light bills for Bahamian families and businesses. We want to ensure that the electricity supply is more reliable so that power outages are a thing of the past, and we want to drive our country's transition to cleaner energy. The bills before us today are essential to supporting progress on all these fronts. Also yesterday in the House, Minister of National Security Wayne Munro tabled the Trial by Judge Alone Bill 2024 in the House of Assembly, which seeks to provide an alternate mode of trial for persons committed to stand trial in the Supreme Court on indictment. The bill allows for the accused persons to waive their right to jury trial and elect trial by judge alone, where the accused persons have either sought and received legal advice or waived their right to legal advice. Where he says, quote, where an accused person waives his right to legal advice, the bill provides that the judge shall make an order for trial by judge alone only if satisfied that the accused person is competent to elect trial by judge alone without legal advice, has clearly and unequivocally elected to be tried by judge alone, understands the effect of electing trial by judge alone, and files a certificate of waiver. And East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson yesterday accused the Davis administration of lacking transparency for failing to consult with the public before bringing the electricity bill and natural gas bill to Parliament last week. Thompson noted that the 2 bills are both extensive, yet the public is expected to digest them in a short parliamentary debate. He said, quote, these are significant and weighty issues that we debate here today and unfortunately, with respect to these matters that we debate, the government, in my view, they have not treated the people or this parliament with the respect that we all deserve. Lack of consultation, lack of transparency ultimately leads to lack of trust, Mr. Deputy. The PLP has lost the trust, the public's trust. In international news, And police have begun removing barricades and began to dismantle a pro-Palestinian demonstrators' fortified encampment early Thursday at the UCLA campus after hundreds of protesters defied police orders to leave about 24 hours after counter-protesters attacked a tent encampment on the campus. The law enforcement effort comes after officers spent hours threatening arrests over loudspeakers if people did not disperse. Hundreds of people had gathered on campus, both inside a barricaded tent encampment and outside of it in support. The sounds of flashbangs could be heard as police moved in. Police methodically ripped apart the encampment's barricade of plywood, pallets, metal fences, and trash dumpsters and made an opening toward dozens of tents of demonstrators. Police also began to pull down canopies and tents. Demonstrators were holding umbrellas like shields as they faced off with dozens of officers. Some of the protesters warned their fellow demonstrators to be ready with water in case police released tear gas or other irritants. The police action occurred a night after the UCLA administration and campus police waited hours to stop the counter-protesters' attack. The delay drew condemnation from Muslim students and California Governor Gavin Newsom. Demonstrators rebuilt the makeshift barriers around their tents on Wednesday afternoon while state and campus police watched. Tent encampments of protesters called on universities to stop doing business with Israel or companies they say support the war in Gaza have spread across campuses nationwide in a student movement unlike any other in this century. The ensuing police crackdowns echoed actions decades ago against a much larger protest movement protesting the Vietnam War. Let's turn our attention to sports now. And Team Bahamas is ready for the World Relays. Some of the Bahamas' top athletes are missing from this year's World Relays, particularly as it relates to the men and women's 4x100 meter events. But team leader David Charlton said that isn't going to stop them from laying down fast times and hopefully qualifying 4 teams for the Paris Olympic Games. The Bahamas will be represented by a 25-member team at home, set to compete in 4 of the 5 relay disciplines this weekend, May 4th and 5th at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. All but 2 of the elite athletes, Alonzo Russell and Wendell Miller, and a couple young athletes out of Freeport Grand Bahama are here for the World Relays. The World Athletic Relays Bahamas 2024 is now just 2 days away at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Charlton says, quote, "We're ready to go. They were able to get in some good workouts over the last few weeks, especially the men and women's 4x100 relay teams. The women had some nice exchanges and the men did a fantastic job. They showed an improvement, which is good. It's tough to be missing some of our top collegiate stars, but we have a good crew that could get the job done." And Bahamian professional basketball player Shavano Buddy Hield has fallen out of the rotation for Nick Nurse and the Philadelphia 76ers, but they were still able to extend their season on Tuesday, turning back the number 2 seeded New York Knicks 112-106 in overtime in Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York. The Knicks still lead the National Basketball Association's first round playoff series 3-2 over the Sixers. But now the series returns to Philly for Game 6. And the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association welcomes International Tennis Federation's Development Officer for the English-speaking Caribbean, John Godey, to the Bahamas. Godey has been the Development Officer for the region from 2013 and has hosted numerous training courses for both coaches and players. PLTA President Perry Newton said, quote, over the past 11 years, we have seen his impact in the development of tennis, not only in the Bahamas, but the region. That's your look at sports, and that's your look at the overnight. Now time for your first look at weather. Weather today, Thursday, May 2nd. Partly sunny and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms possible across the northwest and central Bahamas, to partly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the southeast Bahamas. Mostly fair to partly cloudy conditions expected tonight. Your maximum temperature today, 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Your low temperature today, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Expect gusty winds and choppy seas in showers and thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. We'll have more in weather for you later on in our show. When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9, home of fresh news and smart talk all day.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
The signs are clear. It's time to pay less for your current mortgage by switching to Scotiabank. Enjoy lower interest rates and no payments up to 2 months when you switch to Scotiabank today. Plus, we'll even pay your switch costs. It's that easy. Ready to switch to Scotiabank? Call us today at 242-356-1697 or visit bs.scotiabank.com to switch your mortgage to become mortgage-free faster.
Get ready! On May 4th and 5th, athletes from around the world will compete to secure their spot in the Paris Olympics. Come, witness history as our Bahamian athletes run against the world and chase the sun. From paradise to Paris at the BTC World Athletic Relays here in Nassau, Bahamas at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Get your tickets now at worldrelaysbahamas24.org or at the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium box office or at BTC Mall at Marathon or BTC Southwest Plaza. BTC World Relays. Be there.
Elevate your gadget game, or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your number one fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's still. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on www.guardiantalkradio.com and the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices, and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Guardian Radio is all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Chester Robards. Joining me, Tees Grant Jr. You there? Can you hear us? If not, he'll be joining us in a second. You can join our conversation today as well. Tweet us at MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. And be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. You can email us at morningblend@nascar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC. Text us at 422-GR96. That is 422-4796. Of course, standard text rates still apply. You can always call us. We'd love to hear your voice. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And you can call us toll-free from the Family Islands, 242-300-5720. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And in business news, coming up in Morning Blend Business, we're talking climate change with the Water and Sewage Corporation. In our 8 o'clock hour, we're talking about Faith versus Fear, a seminar coming up. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. And in the news, the government, it seems, has backtracked on part of its electricity bill. And I think most of the things in this case, on the front page of the paper and page 2 tie in together, mostly on the electricity bill. But there was a worry about the language in the electricity bill that seemed to suggest that BPL would have a 3-year period where it could set its tariff rates without ERCA oversight. And the government was saying no, that's not the case. They were saying that wasn't the case. I'm not sure they said it publicly. I've been seeing that they were saying that it's not the case. But they still put an amendment through to change the language in that part of the bill to ensure that people understand that ERCA will still have oversight of BPL's tariff rates. And the Prime Minister saying that the bills will pave the way for lower power bills. Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But what about BPL's bills, which is a public bill that is expected to go up to $1 billion? I guess that one is a wait and see. And you have East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson yesterday saying that the Davis administration lacked transparency for not consulting with the public on the electricity bill and the natural gas bill. And I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but it is interesting that these bills, I don't know who was consulted. There was likely no wide consultation. We didn't hear about it. These bills just popped up. There was speculation and sip about how they would break up BPL to give transmission and distribution to a company and give generation to a company. And apparently this new bill helps to make that a reality, but still not much talk on what that is and what that could look like. So, yeah. In terms of transparency, how are you feeling about it? Let's talk about it. And also, the jury is discharged in the case of Kirk Cornish, the rape trial, because it was found out that one of the jurors has a close connection to opposition leader Michael Pintard. I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't explain, I don't think, how close, and it doesn't. The story doesn't explain how close this connection is. But one would think that should have been brought out during the questioning of jurors before the trial started. Because as a lot of people know, if you've been on a jury or if you've sat in a courtroom when a jury was being chosen, lawyers get to go through a long line of questioning, asking each juror, if they think they can judge this trial fairly, if they have any connections to the accused, if they have any family close to the accused, if they, all manner of questions just to see, pick the right jury pool. And one would think that a political connection would be a top priority question or concern, given that the accused person is a member of parliament. So we're not sure how that one slipped through, but now it is a delay in this trial, which sucks for the people involved. We got T. John? Can you hear us?
Yes. Good morning, Chester.
Hey, morning. How you doing, man?
Good morning, Baumans. I'm doing great this morning. How you doing, Chester?
I'm good. Got
Good.
my coffee going.
Look, it's necessary. When you asked me to wake up at the time you asked me to wake up at, it's necessary. It's very necessary.
Yeah, you got yours close too.
Oh, it's right here.
Good.
No doubt about it. You know it.
Good. Yeah, so I don't know if you've been hearing everything I said
I have
about the new Electricity Act and
the
our electricity bill that was passed. Now it's go through the upper house, and really it just paves the way for BPL to be split and transmission improved through a new company, for generation to be given to a new company, and for LNG to become part of the fuel mix eventually. That's what the natural gas bill is for, and so on the surface of it, it seems like the introduction of these bills will eventually pave the way, as the Prime Minister said, for lower power bills and stabilize the power on the island. As everybody who lives on the Providence understands, we've had janky electricity for
from the beginning.
yeah, and
So it's a couple of things I think about when I hear that, and it's like you said, it's been a long time, but people have also had questions about how their bills are being calculated, or how their energy is being recorded or read.
yeah,
And whenever you have government in the mix with certain entities like this, people are always going to ask questions. There are always going to be some concerns, and I think that it's time that the government allows, especially the energy sector, to be more transparent right now.
Yeah.
I think the people demand that.
yeah. In the House of Assembly is in the Tribune this morning. Their top story headline: "Poorest pay the most for electricity," and it says Energy and Transport Minister Jo Beth Colby Davis suggested that Bahamas Power and Light's tariff rates could be made more equitable, that the least able to pay are currently paying more than large businesses.
Yes.
What
Yes.
what is that about?
Yeah, and that's always been the issue. That's always been the issue. We have heard cases where certain businesses have arrears up to tens of thousands of dollars. Even I think one business had over $100,000, if I'm not mistaken. And so you have people in inner city New Providence right now who probably have their power cut off for a few dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens, and it happens frequently.
Oh yeah. So hopefully what he's saying is able to, in at least the medium term, make for lower power bills, because I'm sure everybody is dreading as we get close to the summer. I must say, thank God for this extra long. I hesitate to call it winter. Extra long cool season for the Bahamas, because here we are in May and it's still kind of lovely.
Let's say the extra long dry season, even though it wasn't all that dry. But let's say dry season.
No, everybody grass brown around here. Everybody grass brown here. Even I hate to say it, but the stadium field look a little dry. And
the field that should be maintained the most often.
Yeah, that was looking a little brown. I know. But yeah, it's been dry, but it's been cool. We've had little spots of rain, but it ain't been enough. My poor little avocado tree suffering, but the problem I see is, and I don't know if we said it in any of these stories, but we're talking about a BPL, a public electricity supplier, for a small country that already is $500 million in debt and is going to take $500 million to fix, adding up to a cool $1 billion that somehow is going to have to be taken care of. So while we may experience lower power bills, what is the public going to experience in terms of bringing BPL back to the black eventually? What is the pain going to look like for that process? And
I would like to know the path forward. I wish there was more clarity and detail provided to us with that, but we know how information is in the country. So,
and that's what Kwesi Thompson was saying, and part of, I think, what he was getting at is that there was no consultation on on these bills. There was speculation about what the government is going to try to do in the future based on what it wrote into the bills. But as he says in this story in the National Guardian, quote, "These are significant and weighty issues that we debate here today. Unfortunately, with respect to these matters that we debate, the government, in my view, they have not treated the people or this parliament with respect that we all deserve. Lack of consultation, lack of transparency ultimately leads to lack of trust. Mr. Deputy, the PLP has lost the public's trust." And he said the bills should have been debated separately. So they're debating both bills at the same time. And says, quote, "It would appear that the government does not want a public discussion on either bill. If what you're doing is so good for the people, then why not fully explain it to the people? Why no town meetings? Why not put your awesome PR machinery to work?" And this story goes on to say Fort Charlotte MP Alfred Sears, the minister who had responsibility for BPL up until last September, rejected the assertion that the opposition did not have enough time to study the bills. Sears dismissed regarding a lack of public consultation, saying that adequate time was given to provide written representation to the government, and wrongly claimed the opposition received the bills in January. St. Anne's MP Adrian White accused Sears of misleading the House about the amount of time the opposition had to review the bills. And he said, "The honorable member for Fort Charlotte has stood in this House and misled Parliament," said White. He attempted to advise Mr. Deputy Speaker that these bills have been with the opposition since January. The agenda makes a record of when these bills were tabled, and they were tabled on the 24th of April, 2024. Now you have other members of the government side who are continuing to promote this false narrative, and they need to understand that this is an honorable House, and when they stand on a point of order, they cannot mislead Parliament, they cannot mislead the press. So, whether or not, that argument about when the opposition got it, to me is here nor there, right? There were no public meetings about these bills. As the press got and the BPL union got wind of what the government might be planning for BPL, the government never really specifically addressed anything that the union brought up and that the media brought up.
What's funny about what you said just now, everything you read back to me, I feel and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but every time we have somebody in the House who's the opposition, they always point at the majority not being transparent. Mm-hmm. And that kills me because every government has the opportunity to be transparent. Yeah. And as we know, for the last, how many elections, 4 or 5 elections, the government has flipped. We've taken, it's been one term and that's it. We're done, we're tired. We need you to come in and correct exactly what is wrong right now. And what we find is people in the opposition keep on going in the House saying that we need transparency. But when they have the opportunity to provide that same transparency, it's not there. Yep. And that's just interesting to me. Very interesting.
Yeah, as an opposition tagline. There ain't no transparency. Yeah, you're right. Either side. It doesn't matter who's in opposition.
Nobody cries about transparency until it's time for them to provide transparency.
Right.
And it makes me wonder. And I think, he's using the Bahamian people, but it's a shame what all these governments have done to the Bahamian people as far as the lack of transparency. And we've been crying for more transparency for a while now. It's been a long time. Yeah. But it seems like literally it's pulling teeth.
Yeah. Only yesterday we talked about or was it day before yesterday? We talked about the Freedom of Information Act that doesn't really exist. That's been around for God knows how long now. We got some calls coming in. Let's take some of these calls. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yeah, good morning, Chester, and good morning, Teach.
Good morning.
Listen, Teach is correct, It's always flip-flop. The Bahamian people, we are an insane group of people. I am convinced. 50 years plus 9 months. We are insane. You understand? Could you believe Dr. Sands on your radio station yesterday that the premier heart surgeon in this part of the world and Dr. Minnis, 5,000 babies born, according to him, rowing about the PLPE only got 4 ambulances at the hospital in Boston State. Could you believe that, Teach? Dr. Sands?
I can.
I mean, he on the radio talking bad about the PLP when it comes to ambulance power, and they work to the hospital. What kind of foolishness is that, man? You understand? And Chester and Tish, it's time we start speaking Bahamianese, because when we speak eloquently and we do all of that kind of talking, we ain't getting nowhere. You understand? But this BPL issue, we might as well just speak Bahamianese and say what's going on. The Bahamian people didn't realize what's happening. Waterworks is gone. Waterworks is in private hands. The Prince George Dock is in private hands. Awawaki is in private hands. The air in private hands. The communication for telco is gone. Only one left to go now. That's BPL. And like C. Allen always says, when you get rid of all of your infrastructure, governmental infrastructure like that, we just a city of slaves, workers. We go where the tide go. Where it go. That BPL is going to either folk oil, or sun oil, or to snake them. Let's talk sense. Brave them or tie that up before they get out of power, if they do, but for one of their cronies. That's all it is. Let's speak being meaning. Thanks for taking my call. Good morning.
I appreciate it. Thank you for calling. Let's take this next call. All right, let's take this next call. Let's take this call. Good. We got it through. A lot of people calling, huh? Oh. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Yeah, here is what we are doing, and Bahamians need to look closely at this. When we continue to recycle the same politicians over and over again, well, we're saying that we really have no confidence in ourselves in trying to get out on the limb and look for something new. But what we're doing is we're giving these men and women an opportunity to strike deals with their friends that could favor them, because they could have a buy-in when they get out of power. We would know nothing about it. And you can clearly see when all of our infrastructure and our basic necessities are being pawned off through some kind of... You cannot resist to think that perhaps these individuals are involved in the deal. Right now, you have the Supreme Court of the United States challenging this concept, whether a president could have private conduct versus over an official act. And I submit that these gentlemen are doing private conduct business with institutions that would favor them when they are out of power. That's the reason why they don't want to give you the Freedom of Information Act. That's the reason why when it comes to BPL, the union is kept in the dark. All right? So right now you have to backtrack on what you said. It gives the impression that you cannot be trusted. And you can clearly see it. You have one minister saying one thing about NIB, and then the prime minister coming and saying another thing. It's simply because there's a few of them in there, I could call their names, who have private interests. And they are not on the board of having official acts where you can bring it to the... And Bahamians, open your eyes and see it. I mean, it's clear as mud. I won't call them something else, but think about it. They're striking deals that could benefit them when they're out of power and their generations to come. And, I really don't blame them because we're the fools for putting them back there over and over again. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right, let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning, Chester, and good morning, Teach.
Good morning.
Hey, I agree with the last caller too, right? What's happening in this country is that our leaders, right? They grow the Bahamian people in this insanity mindset that we have, right? Because we have to, like the gentleman said before, we have to call it what it is. The PLP and the FNM, which one would represent Her Majesty's opposition and Her Majesty's government at any given time, right? They have no interest in developing this country.
Yeah. I think we might have lost Papa. Let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yeah, good morning, Chester, and your guests. How are you?
Yes, good morning. Opposition Leader Michael Pintar. Thanks for calling in.
Good. Sorry, I just jumped in the car on my way to my next meeting. But, yeah, Chester, I heard a number of the comments, and definitely I understand, I get it, the frustrations of a lot of Bahamians. And on some issues, they are correct, that the frustration comes from us kicking the can down the road, administration after administration. There are some issues, though, where progress is made. On this issue of the Electricity Corporation, the PLP and the FNM are not identical. Not on this issue.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just say just a couple of very quick things. One is I support privatization if you are going to have a consortium of Bahamians. Bahamians who, working class Bahamians, middle class Bahamians, pension funds, different groupings of Bahamians, particularly when it comes to issues of the utilities of the country. Ideally, having them in Bahamian hands is what my preference is. And if there is an international involvement, it would have to be a minority stake.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bahamians that get to participate in governing their own utilities, and they have a stake in making sure it's run successfully. I do not believe that the government corporation should continue to be expanded because governments often use it as employment agencies. And secondly, use it to influence things politically.
Yeah.
And I would only say to those persons who believe that it's always a flip-flop, it's not always a flip-flop. If you listen to Dwayne, myself, Shannon Dawn, one of the things you hear often is we are willing to get something right because we don't always get it right. And I think most Bahamians are mature enough to understand that if you are at the top of the pecking order, you're prime minister, you get to wield a phenomenal amount of power, and there are others in the administration who may not win the argument that day. They shouldn't be disqualified the next day when they're in a position to make the key decisions. And so our view is this administration has entered into a series of private discussions. They have, on a handshake, made commitments, and they needed to go to the House of Assembly in order to create a structure that allows them to make good on the handshakes that they made. And I'm not saying that some of those handshakes may not lower the cost of electricity. They at least one of the proposals that I have heard about can lower the cost of electricity. However, we don't know if it's the lowest cost we could have gotten because there's no competitive bidding.
Yeah.
So even though some who are waiting in the wings to take over some aspect of BPL, because there's going to be, my understanding, one company will generation, another company will take over transmission and distribution, another company will take over the administration, then government is supposedly going to have some component. We don't know how all of those entities are going to work in tandem with each other. But more important than that, there is no competitive bidding. So if Chester and his guests and the callers wish to buy shares, put in a bid so that they can more effectively provide reliable power at a price that makes sense, and cleaner power, they have no opportunity. Because this administration is into single sourcing, in other words, providing to one group without allowing others to buy into the to be a part of the competition, and that is wrong. And so, no, we haven't always gotten it right. But when we left office, the fuel charge was 10.5 cents per kilowatt. It is now over 18, probably 19. So this government, in 2.5 years, has cost the price of fuel, and as a result, the cost of electricity. You would recall, historically, this administration, when it made decisions in changing the whole structure of the cost of fuel, and I would rather not call the gentleman's name because he's no longer with us, we then began to accumulate this legacy debt, this massive bill, which is now worth more than $530 million. So when they talk about we are here to fix it today, they should say that the legacy debt is distributed across multiple administrations, including theirs, and should not give the impression that they're coming to fix something they had nothing to do with creating. That's wrong.
Yeah. Tell me something while we have you. How do we fix this issue of transparency in the future? We keep talking about freedom of information. I think the Bahamian public feel abused about this freedom of information thing. How do we fix this?
Again, the government should simply pass. They should complete the process in order to put it in place. The law is enacted. However, they claim that it was a technical issue in terms of creating the infrastructure, properly request, information could be archived, information could be made available. They were running a pilot project in multiple ministries. However, they refused to provide the required resources to make it happen. The Information Commissioner has been clear. He says, I've done all I can to make this happen. All that is left is the allocation of resources. That's a government function. Yeah. And the truth is, right now, today, Chester, if people want information and they decide to write The Guardian in Word, Microsoft Word could provide information if they're minded to. Government is always providing information, and sometimes they don't have the sophisticated software that would allow them to do it in a more efficient and effective way. But if they are minded to provide the information, they can. And I'm saying they simply not. Yeah. The second thing about transparency is the issue of procurement, making sure there's competitive bidding. We already have the laws on the books. Yeah. The PLP criticized the F&M's procurement legislation. Then they passed the test on whether or not they're committed to competitive bidding is clear. You had an old bill, and you decided not to be transparent and to promote competition. You pass your own bill, and you're behaving the same way. Mm-hmm. So that's not an issue of the nature of the legislation. That's an issue of the kind of governance they wish to provide. They are going to operate in the dark relative to who they are allocating contracts to. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. While you again, one more thing.
Before Mr. Pintard goes, I just want to. Good morning, Mr. Pintard. I just want to ask.
Good morning, sir.
If you're leader of the country right now, what would you do in order to ensure that the people have the transparency that they?
Well, I think one of them is you simply have to follow the law. The more persons involved in bidding, you will tend to get the better price for what you are looking for. The second persons who are expressing interest in carrying out a service or providing a product to government, you are likely to learn more about what is available or can be done on behalf of the Bahamian people. And then most importantly, you want to increase the number of people who actually are participating in the economy. So sometimes we talk about economic growth. Your economy can grow, but what you don't have is development. You don't have equitable distribution of the wealth. So the economy is growing, but still the same usual suspects are getting wealthy, mm-hmm. and a bunch of other people, the money is not trickling down to them. Mm-hmm. Competition allows some people to get in the game who would have never been in the game. And we have a bunch of brilliant Bahamians who have an opportunity to get in the game. The taxi driver drives around with a millionaire who falls in love with just their courtesy and customer service and decides, my God, the ideas you're expressing is just so incredible, I'm willing to invest in something that you're doing. But there's no pathway for him to invest or her to invest because the system is rigged. It's stuck. That a select group of people are constantly the ones that are out at the trough and eating. And so what we have to do is really just promote promote competition, promote that more Bahamians, when you can make sure there's a shareholding component and Bahamians are able to buy shares. And I think that would go a very long way. Then also public disclosure. Every politician in this country gets contributions from a wide range of persons. If you then require that all of us disclose once the law is in place, you are able to get a better measure of who is behind the scenes pulling the levers. So the position I take today, and that's the final thing I'd say on this, the position I take today is I would say to anyone who wishes to contribute to me, unless it's a product that I have a serious problem with, I won't accept. However, I will tell you, you're making a contribution, little or large, does not in any way influence what I have to say. I'm prepared to still come publicly and say what is in the best interest of the Bahamian people. And if that is going to be a problem for you, don't contribute. But don't call me about you scratch my back, I scratch your back, and be good. No, I ain't want no marks on my back, and that could be painful. So my position is that you cannot have special interests controlling political decisions. So politicians are coming to the parliament armed with the legislation written for them in order to facilitate somebody else's interest.
Yeah.
At a minimum,
100% agree.
Let's be real about it. Let's be transparent. And unfortunately, that's not where we are on BPL.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of other issues that, yes, we participate in some can kicking. I'm sure there's a number of them. But in this particular case, this government is, again, I think they are responsible for your high bill. When you look at your bill today, compare it to what it was over the 2 years before, because they had an example of, for example, they had a report on the hedge program that's $5 million by locking in a predictable price on fuel. Yeah. When they allowed it to lapse, then we were subject to all of the variations in prices of oil on the international market. That's their decision. Yeah. Just own it. I would own that the rate reduction bond is something we should have passed at a time when interest rates would have allowed us to get sufficient money at a good rate in order to retire the legacy debt, fix the infrastructure of BPL, retool the staff, et cetera, et cetera. We failed to do that when we went off. We didn't go far enough to complete that process. We accept that. We can take that one on the chin. Yeah. But in terms of the predictability, in terms of price of the or the cost of the electricity, this government, they need to take that on the chin. Affairs and the Prime Minister.
Yeah. Can you give us a quick update on how the preparations for the convention are going, and if your entire team been nominated?
Everybody has not yet been nominated. I think there's a slew of nominations today. I nominate at 10 o'clock on Friday, God willing. The plans are going well. We are going to be on the Cable Beach strip between two properties. Of course, we are going to be presenting our message to the general public. During the day, we'll be voting and dealing with some party business. I mean, people are really excited. I'm looking forward to it. On the 1st of June, we would have made a determination about who the team would be that will take us into the next general election, and that would allow for no kind of confusion around what our message is and who speaks on behalf of the party. So for all of those that were in the shadows, we have now held the torch a little higher so we can light it up, and they can come out in the full glare and indicate what their vision is for our organization, and ultimately what their vision is that we need a shift, a fundamental shift in leadership, a different style of leadership that's consultative, a style of leadership that understands that we work for the Bahamian people, and so when they raise a question with you or they critique you, they have a right to do so because you're their employee. I believe there's the need for a generational shift, that we come with a different openness to ideas on how to take the country in a different direction. I believe that we need smaller government, for example. We need to outsource a number of the services we have, empower employees of different corporations to start their own company with some of the core jobs that they are carrying out right now that would not hinder the corporations they're coming from, but would empower them and better serve the community. We believe that there's a need for a greater shareholder society, and that more Bahamians should be able to buy into the various projects that are being proposed for the Bahamas. We need to fix healthcare, and it needs to be a politically neutral area, right, to fix what is critical and an infrastructure that, if not fixed, an ecosystem that, if not fixed, more Bahamians are going to die just waiting on service. And so we're excited. I mean, I'm excited. And so for those who've been calling for convention, it's here. Get ready. Stop slapping up. Stop crying, and let's work.
Thank you for calling in. Best of luck in your processes today and tomorrow, and appreciate you calling in.
My pleasure. Take care.
Take care. That a lot of what he said was very refreshing, especially after your question, Teach. Let's try and take some of these calls coming in before we have to go to our break. Yeah. That one's going. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Teach, how you doing, man?
Good morning. Hey, how you doing, CT?
Grand Bahama going to need you to come back, Shalon Johnson. Just let me just say a couple of things. First of all, governance without consent is a definition of slavery. Are you there with me?
Yep. Okay.
So when we have people govern us without consenting with us, meaning that keep things away from us, they're basically defining us as slaves. But when you look at what has been offered on BPL, I'm one to believe that BPL should be put in a sovereign wealth fund type environment. There's another concept called a sovereign asset management. You know, we complain about government interfering with it and everything else. In the same way we could get a capacity of a foreign company we could sell to or whatever, manage it, we can buy the expertise to have them operate as a sovereign asset management with the inability of government to interfere with them that follows a mandate for the generation of electricity for the economic development and advancement of the country at the lowest cost using the lowest technology. And so, but I want you to understand that when BPL says that the $2 billion, now, first of all, let's go back, Teach, I don't know if you're paying attention to this. BPL consists of 5 things right now. Transmission, generation, transmission, and the debt. According to the Progressive Liberal Party, they're not selling BPL. They're only going to get rid of transmission, distribution, and generation. So that leaves us with the name and the debt. That debt, I put to you, is way greater than the $1 billion that the Prime Minister says. You may have up to, when you look at it in its totality, you may have up to $1 billion in legacy debt, including pensions and other things that you have. You have an aging infrastructure, and if anyone can tell me they could put an infrastructure on this island on New Providence or upgrade the Bahamas for less than $500 million, for $500 million, it's delusional. That's another $1 billion. We could conservatively put right-sizing BPL to adjust for the 21st century is a $2 billion effort. But here's what happens when you talk about new technology. The total power generation in the Bahamas is less than 400 megawatts. If you gauge what it costs to replace 400 megawatts in solar energy alone, you could do other things. It's less than $400 million. And so an investment in that, in a proper grid system, would allow you at least at minimum, even throughout the day, not counting that you could get batteries and other different things, to almost eliminate 50% of what we spend and almost $400 million already per year already on fuel. So within 2, 3, 4, even 5 years, we could have 100% return of our money. But if you look at the fact that even to use Grand Bahama as an example, they generate electricity for they deliver, private entity, deliver electricity to the grid for sub 10 cents. So if you now generate in its totality, the electricity in New Providence, that since it's a non-for-profit type environment, it's for the generation of the country, you could generate electricity for about 5 cents.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate that, Cialan. We got to go to our break before we are out of time. We're going to head to that break, and Morning Blend will be right back in just a bit.
Brandy, marshmallow, jello, sugar time.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC.
Is a bit for all of you.
Are you buying a home, renovating, or exploring mortgage options? With cash back and up to 90% financing, we'll find the perfect mortgage for you. Pre-qualify in just 60 seconds and get connected with a mortgage specialist today. Visit rbc.com/mortgages/all of you. RBC. Conditions apply.
This is your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by our bank for all of you. And in your usual hot spots, Gladstone Road looking pretty tight as you get to the hill there by Fusion Superplex. Not too bad further down the road yet. So if that is your preferred route, you want to get on that road now. Sumaila Highway moving ever so slightly there close to the Fire Trail Road roundabout. Gets tight in the middle, and maybe there's police out there, but they are moving as you get closer to the roundabout. Carmichael Road and Blue Hill Road looks like traffic is flowing, but as you get to the hill there at the roundabout of Independence Drive, it does get pretty thick. Things looking fine over there by Saunders Beach so far. And your commute into downtown still looking pretty good. Over on the Eastern Road, traffic building up past Fox Hill Road now. Slowing down just before you reach Village Road, but it opens up as you get closer to Village Road. East of Fox Hill Road looks fine. Traffic moving. Prince Charles, not too bad. Up at the intersection of Beatrice Avenue. We will have more in your 8 o'clock hour on traffic. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you. And now at 7:47, it's time for your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. For today, Thursday, May 2nd, partly sunny and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms possible across the northwest and central Bahamas, to partly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the southeast Bahamas. Mostly fair to partly cloudy conditions expected at night. Your high temperature today, 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Your low temperature, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Expect gusty winds and choppy seas in showers and thunderstorms. Winds will be easterly at 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. We'll have more weather for you in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your weather check, though, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Easy Car Sales. Do you think you can afford a new electric? Think again. Easy Car Sales has many models of affordable EVs, competitively priced to suit your pocketbook and your lifestyle. And every electric car comes with your personal home charger. There is an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales. Find it on easy242.com. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. ClevelandClinicFlorida.org/Caribbean.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why it is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Are you ready for the best of the best? Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group, Alpha Sound Promotion, and Guardian Radio presents the best of the best Rake and Script Explosion Concert. Mark your calendars for May 11th as Super Club Breezes grounds ignite with Bahamian talent featuring KB, Gino D, Funky D, Veronica Bishop, The Brylanders, Avi, Elon Moxie, and Shine 242.
They know I feel like whining.
Join the Falcons, Iron Storm, Sylvie Pierre, Johnny Cake, Mama D, Nishi LS, Pat Ramis, Stevie S, and Shad Colley and the VIPs for an electrifying night of music and culture. Tickets are flying, so grab yours now. Available online at BahamasEtickets.com or swing by the Beauty Shack on Soldier Road and Carmichael Road. This is the event of the year. The best of the best Rake and Scrape Explosion at Breezes Resorts. Gates open at 6 p.m. Don't miss out on the Bahamian magic.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Attention all New Providence customers. Are you ready to spring into savings and make this Mother's Day unforgettable? From April 26th to May 9th, pay your water and sewage bill in full and get a chance to win big. That's right, simply pay your bill and you'll be automatically entered to win a stunning 55-inch smart TV. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to treat yourself or that special mom in your life. Visit any of our water and sewage offices to learn more. Spring into savings and make this Mother's Day one to remember. Water and sewage committed to growth, committed to quality. Hurry, offer ends soon. Terms and conditions apply.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Experience the immediate care you deserve at Doctors Hospital Urgent Care. When emergency strikes, trust our expert physicians for fast, quality care. With extended hours and cutting-edge medical technology, we're always ready to serve you. Don't wait or take risks with your health. Visit our urgent care suite at Doctors Hospital West on Blake Road for immediate, trusted, and best care.
This is the National Youth Guard program designed to train young people to help the Bahama Islands in times of disaster.
I decided to join to better serve my country as well as to better myself.
We train to help in search and rescue,
electrical, plumbing, and carpentry.
And things that they can actually expand on in their careers.
Young people who join the Youth Guard program discover a sense of purpose and a sense of patriotism.
To learn more and apply, visit nyg.bahamas.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards along with Tej Grant. And just want to remind you, the Bahamas Red Cross Society having a fun run, walk, and push and mini health fair on Saturday, May 11th, 2020 a.m. The cost is $30. The venue, the Red Cross Society headquarters on JFK Drive. You can register online, www.fourseasonsracemanagement.com. or in person at the Red Cross headquarters. We got some calls coming in. Let's try and take those before.
Hey,
go ahead, Teach.
Hey, yeah. Before we take a call, what Mr. Pintard said was significant just now.
Yeah.
And I think me and you could both agree that what he explained on this show just a minute ago. People in the FNM right now are like, we have to retain him as leader, or they're like, there's no way he can be leader. At this moment, they probably made a decision as to who should be the leader of that party.
That's true.
And you said something when he was done talking. You said it's refreshing to hear a politician, a leader talk like that.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk to you a bit about it, Chester, because I want to know, how do you feel listening to the leader of the opposition talk like this, who has great visions and goals to be PM of this country one day? How did you feel about what he said, number one, and how do you feel about his chances going into the convention on the 1st?
I feel his chances are great. What was important for me is to have him and hear him say what he said. I'm a bit jaded when it comes to politicians, right? So I'm not judging anybody until they get in the seat and they start to do what we asked them to do, right?
Absolutely. I think most people in the media are jaded when it comes to politicians, but go ahead.
But I said it was refreshing because now it's on record, right?
It is.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to write about it. And then when he sits in that chair, we're going to have to remind him. We hopefully don't have to remind him, but we will be able to remind him, May 2nd, 2024, you said this. And we don't think you're in line with that right now.
There are people out there, and we've heard it, and we could be honest on the show, that just blatantly say, I don't like Pintard.
Yeah.
You ask them why they don't like Pintard, they would point to other things, not really things that have to deal with his leadership or the work that he's doing within the party or within his constituency in Marco City.
Yeah.
And it's good for the Bahamian people to take this opportunity and put your emotions aside and listen to him. Listen to him. And I'm not saying that he should be the guy, because we don't even know if he's going to be the guy in his party yet. We don't know that until after the summer, right?
Right.
But if he is the guy, I think it's worth listening to him. Just sit down, listen to him, hear what he has to say, even if you may feel like he doesn't have a personality that I like, you know? And I think Bahamians got caught up in that a lot, especially when it comes to politics. They don't know nothing about the policy that these people want to implement.
Oh yeah, they want some strange, charismatic individual.
Right. They want charisma.
Yeah.
Right? And charisma is not going to fix the country.
No.
What's going to fix the country is policy, you know? And so I hope people listen to Pintard, you know, and you know, he doesn't seem like a person who's not likable. Every time I've interacted with him, it's been pleasant, face to face.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, face to face. It's been very pleasant.
And he even when he was even when his government was in power last time, he was always very accessible in his ministry too. You could always reach him.
Correct.
And I hope that doesn't change in the future. You know.
And his people in his constituency, I can say fairly, because my parents have a church in his constituency in Grand Bahama. His presence is felt there, I could say. You know, even if he's not there, he still has people there who do his work on his behalf.
Yeah. We got to get to the news break. Sorry, callers. We'll try to get to you.
Sorry for that, caller.
Call back after the news break. Thank you.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. And now at 8:21, it's time for your final look at this morning's weather, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. And here's your weather for Thursday, May 2nd. Partly sunny and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms possible across the northwest and central Bahamas. To partly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in this mostly fair to partly cloudy conditions expected at night. Maximum temperature is 83 degrees Fahrenheit and minimum temperature 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Gusty winds and choppy seas are expected in showers and thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. For Friday, partly sunny and warm with the chance of an occasional passing shower or two. Mostly fair and mild conditions expected at night. High temperature on Friday, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, and low temperature 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Gusty winds and slightly choppy seas can be expected in showers. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. And on Saturday, weather partly sunny and warm with the chance of a few isolated showers. Mostly fair conditions expected at night. Your high temperature on that day, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, and low temperature 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Gusty winds and slightly choppy be expected in showers. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. That was your weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. And it's time again for your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC, a bank for all of you. On Gladstone Road, traffic has thickened significantly since the 7 o'clock hour. Traffic backed up close to the intersection with Fire Trail Road. Traffic on Sir Butler Highway moving in some areas, but the line of traffic still long, some of it past Fire Trail Road. And it's building up on Tonic Williams Darling Highway in both directions at the roundabout with Sir Butler Highway. Over Saunders Beach, traffic has built up significantly since our last traffic alert. Traffic is backed up, starting to back up close to Go Slow Bend, but it's still moving. As you enter Bay Street, not too bad at the moment. It is moving. Not a bad commute for you downtown at the moment. And there are pockets of congestion on the Eastern Road just after Fox Hill Road. But it still loosens up as you get closer to Village Road. And Village Road, some traffic backing up at the intersection with the Eastern Road. Traffic on Soldier Road as you head toward the Bernard Road, Wolf Road, Village Road intersection is pretty bad. And traffic on Robinson Road, bad as well. Those are your hot spots this morning. That's your morning. To you by RBC. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Here's a Sure-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. We also have airbrush paint. I don't forget that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil, shrimp, stew, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
Here's to the go-getters, the early risers, and the late-night dreamers. You, the visionaries, painting futures in your mind, in your studio, your office, your sacred space. Here's to the adventurers, explorers of every realm. To you, the innovators, turning the cogs of progress. In a world where connection is a lifeline, a pathway to possibilities. Alive is the perfect connection for everyone, every lifestyle, every day.
Visit BeAlive.com today.
Make Mother's Day one to remember with a delightful Mother's Day brunch valued at $300 courtesy of Haagen-Dazs and Fun Foods Wholesale. It's simple. Just head over to Lickety Split or Super Value locations and purchase a pint of your favorite Haagen-Dazs ice cream for just $8.99. After purchasing, don't forget to write your full name and number on the back of your receipt and drop it into any entry box at the store. You're now in the running for our grand prize drawing. Soon. Happy Mother's Day from Haagen-Dazs. Promotion ends May 8th.
Mothers are the heart of our homes, the soul of our memories, and the guiding light through life's journeys. Show your love with a gift from Kelly's House and Home's Mother's Day sale, Friday, May 3rd through Saturday, May 11th. Enjoy 20% off selected dinnerware, glassware, luggage, silk flowers, and picture frames, except on net items. One lucky person can win a gift basket for Mother's Day. Visit our Facebook page for more information. Kelly's House and Home's Mother's Day sale, May 3rd through 11th. Happy Mother's Day, all with love from Kelly's House and Home.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Boy, you know how I feel about you. I rock with you, can't live without you. Get on my nerves all the time. I ain't lying, I know you got your reasons. My rap sheet ain't squeaky clean. Every single day I'm working hard just to love myself. I look in the mirror and I see myself. I want the next level with you. All we need is a yes and I do. Ain't nothing like strong black woman. Ain't nothing like strong black woman.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards along with Teej Grant Jr. and we are switching gears. We're going to have a conversation with a familiar voice to you, Miss Kendany Campbell, and we're talking about the Faith Over Fear seminar. Good morning to you.
Bahamas. It is a pleasure to be here this morning, bright and early.
It's always a pleasure to have you here because you're going to brighten up our day.
I know that's right.
I know it.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
So let's get into it. Tell us about the Faith Over Fear seminar. Where did the idea even come from? Where did the name come from?
Well, the idea came actually from the premise of me trying to make sure that I had work. So when I started in this industry, I started at the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation. Joaquin was sitting at a Junkanoo presentation, and I walked up to her and I said, listen, I want to come and work at the Ministry of Tourism. And she said, all right, send me your CV. And I sent it in to her. I took the test on Tuesday, and by Thursday, I was employed at the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation. I always had the loftier goal of becoming the Director General of Tourism one day. And I was at tourism for 22 years. I wanted to do more, so I had to get another specialized degree in terms of my master's. Right. And so I went ahead and I did that. Then when the time came for the opportunity, I wasn't able to get it. They gave it to somebody else. Yeah. A telecommunications company made me an offer. I went there, and during COVID, they downsized. I was without a job. Mm-hmm. So I was without a job for almost a year and a half. Wow. And in that year and a half, I had to figure out, I had to become overly resilient and figure out how I'm going to put all of these degrees into work so that I could sustain myself, sustain my family. And I just moved on faith. Yeah. I didn't know where to go, what to do. I had this education, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to channel it. I didn't have the right connection, so to speak, but I knew that I had the gift. Yeah. I knew that I could write. I knew that I could speak. I knew that I could host. Yeah. And I just decided to go ahead and do it. I found someone that was able to help me at Inland Revenue Services. I found someone at NIB. I didn't have the tools. I was afraid at the beginning, but I had faith and I moved on that faith. And so my thing is now faith over fear. If you have a little bit of faith, mustard seed faith to move mountains, you can do anything. A lot of times we understand that we may not have everything that is at that particular time, but if we capitalize and we try to move, then we can. There are women that would have stood in the gap for me. Women like Janet Johnson, women like Erica Ingram. These are women in tourism that have made the way, that have opened the doors for me to do certain things. Erica Ingram was my first supervisor in communications and marketing for the Family Islands. She gave me the opportunity to do Exuma Music and Heritage Festival. She gave me an opportunity to make sure that Junkanoo Summer Festival was up and running. People like Charity Ambrister. These women would have set the tone for me. And so I want us to understand that with women in your back pocket, with women in your front pocket, with women beside you, you can move mountains. Inland Revenue Services says that 90% of our populations in New Providence alone are single women. That means that our GDP, our income, our everything is derivative of single women. And we have the power to move mountains. You have the power to foster a community, to encourage positive outlooks, to nurture spiritual growth, for enjoyment, for relaxation. If we would only work together, if we would do it together, we can rise together. If each one can teach one. If I can bring someone along this journey with me, then maybe my living will not be in vain. And so that is the premise of faith over fear. And so on Sunday, May the 5th, I'm going to have mimosas. I'm going to have brunch. We are going to have the conversation. We're going to have a safe place for the conversation. So we're talking sex, we're stability. We are talking about legal affairs. Know what the law says. Find out what happens if you don't have a will. Should you have a living will? Should you have things in place so that if something happens to you, your children are taken care of? Because a lot of times we're too busy getting the lace front wig, but we ain't looking at the legal front wig. You know what I mean? Like we are not focused. So we are going to be in a space. We're going to have mimosas. We're going to have food. We're going to have a comfortable environment. Everybody get cute. We're going to have this on May the 5th at Charlottesville, the clubhouse, 11 a.m. promptly, 11 to 3. The cost is $75, and we are going to have a wonderful time. And then we're going to do it again in the Christmas.
Wow. A good cost, a good cause, and that's awesome. What about this stigma that women don't work well together? How do you break past that?
I think for me, right? My mouth has always been my issue. Yeah. I mean, you know that about me, right?
Yeah.
And even with my matriculation in high school, I started at St. Augustine's and then I went to St. John's. And Arlene Nash Ferguson, she nurtured that part of me that I could not catch. I think if women are honest about what they want from each other, it works better. If you like my Tory Birch, let me tell you where I got mine from. You like my Suzuki Swift, let me tell you where I got it from. If we would only help each other, and a lot of times we don't want to help each other. A lot of times we don't want to see another woman get to another place. Let me give you an example. There's this lady, and she works at a printing company. I don't want to put her on the spot, but I made a phone call to this woman. I had not known her at all. I just see her on Facebook. Very beautiful woman. She has her hair blonde like mine, or she had her hair blonde like mine at one time. And I picked up the phone. I inboxed her, and then I picked up the phone and I called her and I said, "Hey, I need your help. I need you to put in a call for me because I need something done." She said, "Absolutely, no problem. I am here to help other women." She picked up the phone. She called somebody. The person called me back, said to come to the office now. I got what I needed. Yeah. But that is someone who wants to see someone achieve something else. Yeah. All women want the same thing. We want our children to have better than we did. We want our children to have good health care, good education, and to be happy. Yeah. And if we work on those premises, then maybe, just maybe, it would be able to play it forward. But the idea that women don't work well together, it's something that's inherently in them. I'm a part of a sorority. I'm a Delta.
Yeah.
Our foundation is sisterhood.
Yeah.
I have girlfriends that will do and move mountains for me. Charlene Barton, Nicole, Bianca. These women will move absolute mountains. We don't always see eye to eye, right? We don't always agree, but we agree to disagree because we know that the love is there for each other.
Yeah.
I may not agree with what Charlene does. I may not agree with what Nicole does, but they are there to help me. Leslie Pinder, like these are women that have stood in the gap for me. Joyce Ramming, my mom recently, right? And so I have someone who is going to be there to pray for me, to make sure that I'm able to usher through this world. But there are women out there, you find your village, you work within that community, within that village, and you rise together. That's what we have to do.
Absolutely. And so these women, when they come now to, you mentioned single women.
Yes.
This isn't just for single women.
This is not just for single women. I'm just saying those are the
Yeah.
statistics from Inland Revenue
Yeah.
Services. But we want single women, we want married women, we want women that are unsure of what their status is. We will leave no woman behind. It's for women that want to rise higher, women that want to elevate, women that want to be able to understand, listen, I can start this business. I can go back to school. I can leave this toxic relationship. I can literally stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
I can do this. This is for that woman who wants to understand that someone else can help me, can usher me along. It only takes a spark.
Yeah.
It just takes a spark, and it takes an honest and real relationship. Let's not focus on the glossiness of it. Let's not look at the Cartier version.
Yeah.
Let's look at the real shoot marble in the dirt version. If you're honest with me, I can be honest with you,
Yeah.
and we can work together.
Yeah. You call it a seminar, but it sounds like it's going to be a very intimate event.
It is.
Is it going to be more kind of conversational with your guest speakers?
It's going to be very conversational. I'm not setting up chairs where people just sit down and watch.
Yeah.
We are going to have banquet-sized tables.
Yeah.
We're going to have wonderful food, lots of wonderful drinks, right? And making sure that people are comfortable. We want you to put your phones away. There's no one that's going to be videoing or WhatsApping. You're able to have that honest conversation. And of course, there's going to be some element of sex because women are sexual, women are fluid.
Yeah.
So we want to have the sexual conversation. We want to know what makes us tick. What is your G-spot? What happens? How can I do this? What position we're going to have that conversation. We're going to talk about vaginal rejuvenation. We're going to talk about birthing. We're going to talk about everything that it encapsulates a woman because a woman is multifaceted. We're multi-layered.
Yeah.
What you see today, you may not see tomorrow. We're going to have the conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to have it in an honest environment. And even if I don't have 100 people in the room, if I only have 50 people in the room, if I only have 20 women in this room, and 2 women are able to walk away and say, I'm going to start that business, or I am going to go back to school, or I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I would have made some progress. I would have done what I needed to do.
Yeah. What other topics are going to be very important to these women when they come there?
Financial literacy. We have Maisha Wanawar that's going to be there to speak about financial literacy. We have Kalis Adams that is going to be there to speak about entrepreneurship. Princess Pratt, who is going to speak to entrepreneurship and culturalization. We have Melissa Wright, who will speak to us about legal affairs. Anything that's concerning us in terms of legal. We're also going to speak about insurance because a lot of times the insurance, I mean, some of us just don't have it. But if you find a niche, if you go to Kalina, if you go to wherever you want to have some sort of insurance, whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it's retirement, whatever it is, you need insurance.
Yeah.
You must have insurance because without it, you are doomed. And so we want women to understand that, listen, if you don't have the $500 to pay up front, you pay in installments. So we have someone there that's going to speak to that. We have someone there that's going to speak to the legal affairs of a woman. What you need to know about the law, what you need to know about your body, what you need to know about finances, what you need to know about saving, because a woman's independence is in her pocket.
Yeah.
I can control what I want to do once I have this corn.
Yeah.
Do you know what corn is, Chester?
It's a nice food.
No, Chester. Corn is Chester. I'm always trying to get you on the other side. Corn is money.
I know the bag is.
Get the bag, baby. Let's secure the bag.
Of course, we have some messages coming in.
Okay.
And a question.
All
Can
right.
men come?
Men are welcomed. If you would like to be in the place, you can absolutely be in the place. Okay. And of course, I do have a male DJ. So at some point in time, we're gonna get loose. DJ Slaughter is in the house, and he's gonna spin the music. We're gonna have some good R&B, some old school dub. We getting down.
Boy, this ain't a seminar. This is more than a seminar.
It is more. Don't be afraid to ask for more.
And this person says, great show as usual. This conversation makes me want to leave work, like gal, and do the do.
I think you should, sir. Ask how you feel.
Okay.
Ask how you feel. Is it my voice that makes you want to go home and do the do? I think you should do it.
Okay. All right. You already starting to make waves.
I must.
They ain't reach yet.
I must. Listen.
You just made his gal happy.
I'm telling you, but can I tell you that I have had some wonderful sponsorship as well? Because a lot of times when I've sent out the clarion call for sponsorship, it has not necessarily come in the form of funding. It has come in kind. Yeah. So, and to be honest with you, I've had men assist me, like Jamal Smith, like Carrie. They've come on board and they said, Kenny, listen, we got you. They have helped, so I have people like Clean Club, Lowe's Pharmacy, Zaymar. I have Illustrative Artistry, Fabulous Faces by Tammy, The Red Box. I have people that have literally come on and have done what they needed to do. I have Sprite, Coca-Cola has come on. It makes me feel like, hey, this is a community and we're inclusive. ASH Pritchard, people have come and they have given, they have donated, and my swag bags are going to be very sexy. My swag bags are loaded.
It sounds like it.
My ladies are going to be very, very happy.
I don't even know what you got. I'd love to know what they provide.
They have really they've done a good thing. I'm telling you.
This person says, okay. Good morning, Chester and guests and Bahamas. Miss Moss said that she had to find a way to put all those degrees together and make things happen. And that is very encouraging and uplifting. Just imagine folks that don't have such degrees. And she was unemployed for a lengthy moment. Yet faith overcoming fear, that is phenomenal. All the best to her, and may God continue to bless her.
I thank you so much, Dexter. Yes. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us the details again, and
all right.
How many people you'll be able to accommodate.
I can accommodate 100 people, but again, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. If I have 100 people, then that's great. If I don't have 100 people and I only have 20 or 50 persons, then I can work with that. The idea is for each one to teach one and for me to take another woman along the journey with me. Because if I didn't have certain women in my life to make certain things happen, then where would I be? And so the event is going to be on Sunday, May the 5th. It's at 11 a.m. sharp. We are going to start absolutely on time. And then we are going to finagle ourselves with wonderful mimosas and tasty, tasty food. It's going to be at Charlottesville. The cost is $75. And you can find me on Facebook under Mummy Hustle or IQ Kenny, or you can call me. Should I give my number? Can I give my number, Chester?
You can give your number.
You can 8207 424 8207, and the cost of the ticket is $75. And again, it's not. I don't want people to think like it's some churchy thing, because we getting down on Sunday, like slaughter in the house. We have ourselves a good time, a very good time.
It's $75. This is an all-inclusive party.
Oh, listen to me. And you know, the ladies who brunch, they like to be extremely cute. So I'm expecting them to bring the fashions because I'm bringing the glitter. I want them to know I have a whole glitter outfit to put on.
She came in her silver shoes today, people.
Oh, I wish we were on TV. I could show them my shoes. I'm telling you.
This person, I wish you would send your first name and last name. They should have started with good morning. This Chester, first name, last name. Is this another feminist event adding to the degradation and destruction of society? It's probably just like somebody who have nothing better to do today.
Well,
and then they say, or is this something else?
It is entirely something else. And the negative energy, like that negative vibe, we are not even going to castrate that. But what we will do is we will castrate that from the head. We're not even feeding into that. This is purely about positivity. It's about building resilience, fostering a community of support, encouraging positive outlooks, nurturing and sexuality. This has nothing to do with whatever that is.
Whatever that is. And she said men could come if they want to come.
Absolutely.
Come learn a thing or two.
Come learn a thing or two.
About women.
About women.
Because you know what? Men need that education too. And we around here pretending like we know things. We know that.
I think
that's why we get in trouble.
I think the honesty about you not knowing is what's very sexy and what's very attractive. Yeah. Because if you say to a woman or you say to a man, hey, I don't know how to please you, or I don't know how to communicate with you, but if you tell me, if you show me, you're building intimacy, you're building a relationship. Mm-hmm. That's a nugget for that texter right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taste that. Taste that. Have a taste. Taste that.
This person says, great show as usual. Ask your guest, how long is too long? Because usual men don't know. Oh, boy. You have to go to the seminar. Go ask that question there. I don't know if she could answer that right here. No, the answer is no. That same text. This person says, good morning. When and where is this happening? Also, phone number, please. Yeah, she just gave that. She'll give it again.
All right.
Continue listening. Good morning. Please ask your guest what her contacts are for the Christmas session. Huh? I don't know what that means. And tell the troll that feminism is different from demasculization, is different from empowerment and community of women.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Is there an age limit? I would love to bring my lady.
Bring your teen, because listen, it starts then. If your daughter is 13, 14, 15, let them come to this opportunity. My daughter is 10, right? And I know people will say, oh, well, that's very harsh, but listen to me. When my dad gives my daughter an allowance of $50 every week. Mm-hmm. She's 10 years old. So I say to her, Mom, you want the air conditioner on? That's $3. You want to use my internet? That is $2. You want to bathe in this hot water? That is $1. So I charge her to utilize my utilities, right? I don't keep the money from her because we go on vacation every August. Right. So whatever is in that little box, I give her that and then I match it because I want her to understand life is not no free ride, sister.
Right.
This ain't free. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everything that you see in here, what you clicking on, I have to pay for.
Yeah.
Hello? I have to pay for this. So I want her to understand this is real. And out of that $50, she gets $20 for lunch. And if she miss and asks me for McDonald's heading in, can I have the $3.05? Because an order of pancakes is $3.05. And I'd like to have that money.
Thank you. Reality.
This is a real world.
We're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back to finish off this conversation.
My heart, let me help you bear your burden. That's the least that I can do. I'll be standing in the gap for you.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is
ready. On May 4th and 5th, athletes from around the world will compete to secure their spot in the Paris Olympics. Come, witness history as our Bahamian athletes run against the world and chase the sun. From paradise to Paris at the BTC World Athletic Relays here in Nassau, Bahamas at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Get your tickets now at worldrelaysbahamas24.org or at the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium box office or at BTC Moreland Marathon or BTC Southwest Plaza. BTC World Relays. Be there.
That's the least that I can do. I'll be standing in the gap for you. Just remember someone somewhere is praying for you. Your name, praying for your strength. I'll be standing in the gap for you.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're having a wonderful conversation with Kendany Campbell about an upcoming, I don't even want to call it a seminar anymore.
It's an event.
Faith
a
over
signature
fear.
event.
Faith over fear.
Faith over fear.
And my good friend Jillian Gray, who used to work over here with us, is she loves the name, and you have a very inspiring story.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jillian.
She has you know Jillian?
Yes, I do.
And she has a magazine. She says called Faith Over Fear.
Jillian on the big time now. She done cross the sea.
Yeah.
She's a big timer.
Yeah. She over in Grand Bahama.
Absolutely. GBI, baby.
Oh boy.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention some other women that have assisted as well. My girlfriend from school, Shanika Johnson. Shanika said, Kenny, I may not be able to come to the event, but I'm going to give you some stuff. And so yesterday she called and she said, hey, come to me. I got some champagne, precious fountain. She said, hey, I have already made another arrangement for another event, but I have some gift items for you. Then I have Rakadra, my sorority sister, who's giving me cupcakes and some other nice delights. So these women have come through for me, even Sprinkle Sweets. I have so many women that have come on board and said, I will help you. My makeup artist, Tammy said, Kenny, I got you. Even though she has to come to do my face that morning, she is giving me some items. It's everything is coming together. And when I tell you, Bahamas, I would have had to assist with something for my mom over the last 4 weeks, right? And the funds were utilized for that.
Yeah.
And so this is a faith walk. When I cannot even give you an itemized line for what I've spent because it hasn't worked that way.
Yeah.
Everything has been given, has been sowed into. Even when I called Dwight, I said, Dwight, listen, I always given you a bly, brother. I can need a bly. Kendany, I'll see what I can do. And then I said, Dwight, please.
Yeah.
And he worked it right out.
There you go.
But it's about relationships, man.
Absolutely.
It's about relationships. We live on an island that is 7 by 21. But if we look at the metropolis of New Providence, we are much bigger than that. If we would only work together as women. I don't want what you have, because what you have I can't do nothing with. I mean, let's just work together.
Yeah.
If I can help you and you can help me, we've helped each other.
Absolutely.
We have. Look at Oprah and Gail. Come on. Let's do it.
This texter wants you to excommunicate the men. They say, I was willing to have a wide open and very candid conversation. However, I may be a bit shy with men present.
Well, there's only one man that's going to be in there.
Yeah.
When we have to get out of control, I'll ask Slaughter to please, I'm going to have a 6-pack of, some bears for him. He could go outside when we having that conversation.
Turn his headphones up loud.
That's it.
This person says, I like the thing she's doing with her daughter. It sounds a bit extreme, but she will have a proper mindset when she's older. That's the point.
You have to listen. There's nothing in life that is for free. There's nothing for free. Even if we go into the store every year, my daughter goes on a vacation.
Yeah.
Sometimes she goes on 2 vacations. She doesn't go to Miami. She goes to Dubai. She goes to Greece. She goes to Hong Kong. Every year she goes somewhere. When I got to go to France, because listen to me, I didn't get to go to France because I just wanted to go to France.
Yeah.
I got to go to France because I was in a position where I found out, and that's how I went to, but I can get to that in the event. I can't tell the whole Bahamas that. I have to save some nuggets.
Yeah.
But I want her to be able to see life, and I want her to understand that life is real, and you will not have a free ride. There's no, the ride will never end, but the ride ain't free.
There you go. This person wants you to do
Hi.
Congrats.
Congrats.
It's Tej here. I'm sorry. I've been listening the whole time. I just been listening to you. I'm so proud of you for doing what you do. I know this conference is going to be a knockout. It's gonna do very well. I know your personality. I know how bright and radiant you are. Let me encourage the men real quick. If you even have interest in a young lady, I suggest you start here. Get that $75 out your pocket. That's cheaper than the first date these days.
I tell you
Get that $75 out your pocket. Pay for her to go to that conference. She can have all the champagne, all the mimosas and everything. She can be encouraged, motivated, inspired, all of that. And if she coming back to link you after that, who knows?
You good.
Sky is the limit, right? That's how I look. That's how I looking at it. So I just want to encourage the men. Come out your pocket. If you're interested in a young lady, $75 is it. If the lady is your lady already, if this is your wife, your fiance, your girlfriend, it sounds like something that is very necessary.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you would benefit from this as well, guys. I'm talking to the guys.
But I want you to know something, right? We are a very, very sexual nation. And I have a group of ladies where my daughter goes to school. And sometimes in the morning, before I have to go into work, we will sit in the schoolyard over our little tea, right? And someone will say, well, I try this, so I do this, and I do the next thing. And so we have that conversation. Mm-hmm. And so when we are with our partner or when they're with their, sometimes you don't even tell them you're trying something. Yeah. You just go ahead and you do it. And you have to be able to freak them out a little bit. You have to make them wonder, well, wow, this is nice. Get them, Reggie. How you do that? Sometimes you have to come out the box. Absolutely. You have to come out of the box. And sometimes with women having the conversation, you're able to learn and explore and express yourself in a different sexual way, in a different intimate way. And whether we want to face the facts or not, we are sexual.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So give all that wonderful information again, including your number.
My telephone number is 424-8207, 424-8207. The event is May the 5th, Charlottesville, Turnberry, in New Providence, in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And the cost is $75 per person. Mimosas, brunch, slaughter on the radio, slaughter on the steels. We have some good music.
Very worth it.
I'm telling you.
This person says, please get a female DJ so we could let our hair down. And this person says, oh, yeah, you did that. And someone says, bring coffee break back.
Oh, wow. All right.
That one was for you. All right, we're going to go.
Me and them get up a private coffee break.
Yeah.
I'll talk one-on-one with them.
Yeah.
Some coffee.
That's our show for this morning. Morning Blend Business is back. Thank you so much, Kendanique, for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me.
All the best this weekend.
Thank you, Chester. Thank you, Bahamas.
Before you speak on your heart and mind, so I'll be interceding till you're standing strong again. The peace that passes understanding is gonna be yours, but until then, I'll be standing in the gap for you. Just remember, someone somewhere is praying for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards along with Teach Grant, and I would like to welcome back our Morning Blend listeners. And now we have a special treat. We have Water and Sewerage Corporation in-house to talk about climate change, of
all the things that Water and Sewage Corporation can talk about. And we're very excited. We have guests. Could you introduce yourself and your position?
Sure. Good morning, Garden Radio listeners. My name is Ayla Isaacs. I'm a project manager with the Water and Sewage Corporation.
Excellent. And
morning.
So that's Teach on Zoom, who you're hearing. So tell us, Sewage Corporation and climate change. How do they put those two things together?
How? I mean, those things are completely intertwined.
Yeah.
When we think about water and sewage and our resource, we have to be very concerned about the climate. But I think the focus that we want to highlight right now is specific to what the corporation is doing with respect to how we are going about and being more climate cognizant. So ensuring that we adapt our methodology, our approach, and how we input our infrastructure to ensure that we're again, cognizant of our footprint, our carbon footprint. We're cognizant of sustainability, adaptability, and mitigation with respect to climate change. So that's the things we really want to focus on.
Now, has that mean that the Water and Sewage Corporation has had to go about finding new strategies and maybe adopting things and coming up with new methods themselves? Or are you looking at other countries who've done these things already and saying, yeah, we can do this as well?
Well, it's a two-prong or a three-prong approach, how many ever prongs we want to put in there.
Yeah.
But essentially, I know we have an executive who loves global best practices, world best practices. And so that's something that we definitely lean on. We look to see what other persons are doing regionally as well as internationally to see how best we can benefit. But yeah, it's taking some assessments of ourselves as well as a corporation to see how best we can improve what we do locally and just. So one of the things that we've done recently under the Caribbean Development Bank, we've had a climate risk vulnerability assessment and adaptation plan consultancy that we've done. So it was an opportunity for us to actually assess our processes, how we go about installing our infrastructure, and how best we can adapt to climate change and to become more climate resilient.
Excellent. What are some of the biggest risks to our water and sewage infrastructure when it comes to climate change?
I would say the biggest risks, or some of the biggest risks for us, of course, is sea level rise, flooding. Those would stand out. Again, a lot of our infrastructure is below ground. So things like the wind and maybe the increase drought, those don't typically impact us. Those don't have direct impacts, I'll say it that way. But we do have to be concerned, like I said, because of where our infrastructure is placed. Most of it is pipe that's in the ground. So we have to be concerned about flood. And again, flood is not just from above, but from below, the buoyancy that may be experienced. And so we want to ensure that when we install our infrastructure, that it remains in place as best as possible. Again, it doesn't eliminate, all instances, but we certainly want to mitigate as best as possible. So again, however we can do that, whether it's installing anchors, whether it's going a little deeper, and even for our above ground things like RO plants or booster stations, we want to ensure that when we place them, we're not placing them in areas that make them more vulnerable. But again, we want to look at how we can be more sustainable. What elevation we place them at, how far inland we can place them. So these are all things we want to consider.
Right. I've traveled with water and sewage a few times in the past, and so I always wondered. I don't think I grasped it when you talked about putting some of the infrastructure a little bit deeper. But when you said buoyancy, I was like, wait, pipes trying to float? Do they really try to do that?
We've actually, in the past, and this is many years back, but we have had instances where, pipe has become buoyant. So consider this, for instance. If the pipe is placed fairly shallow and you have flooding for an extended period of time, and let's say there is no water in the line for whatever reason, or if there's some concern from that where there was a leak and so the system was shut off and so now the pipe are empty, but we have flooding, these empty pipe can float.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Again, it's something that we have to consider, that we have to factor. And like I say, a lot of times persons don't think about the big picture, but we have to think about it from as many aspects as possible. And we have seen it happen in some areas as well. So we're learning. And I would say definitely for us, Hurricane Matthew and Hurricane Dorian there was some steep learning curve, what does not work and what we need to do to improve.
And I guess some of the things you mentioned were some of those things. Tell us about that. Tell us about like what you saw after Dorian and what you guys have had to change on those islands or have changed on those islands.
Well, some of the things that have changed, for instance, would be how we go about with our storage tanks, the height and the width of those, because again, we want to ensure that those don't become damaged or if there are any missiles, where, again, it places us in a position where we are not resilient and reliable. Our main thing is to ensure that after any storm that we are able to provide the water service back to our customers in a safe manner. Again, we don't want, damage or broken lines. We don't want contaminated water flowing through our pipes. So we have to see how best we can do that. So yeah, we've learned some lessons. Again, for instance, placing certain infrastructure that's above ground a little higher, choosing better locations. We've learned the lesson, I would say, of even material selection. So for instance, some areas we may still have plastic water storage tanks at our facilities, but which is fine, nothing's wrong with that. Maybe introducing hurricane ties, so where we're actually able to strap it to a concrete platform. In areas where we're able to revamp those particular tanks, maybe we use the glass-coated fiber steel tanks instead. Right. So again, those are a little more robust and rated for hurricanes. And again, how we're designing those, we don't want some standing up so tall and now it becomes a projectile, or again, it's in a position where it can be easily damaged. So it's a few things that we looked at. But definitely, like I say, material selection and placement were some things that we learned from and considered in the recent storms.
Right. And what about preparing the family islands? I know we're still kind of moving people into pipe water, and shore projects continue, even though I don't think we've heard of any. I'm sure they're still ongoing. You can help me out with this.
Yeah, we
haven't talked about it recently.
We haven't, and that's in part of what we're doing now. We want to highlight and showcase what it is that the corporation is doing. So we are still doing many projects in Family Islands. We have ongoing projects in Exum or Cat Island. We're about to start a project in Mangrove Key. And this is all with water supply improvement and expanding the distribution and network systems. We have ongoing in-house projects within the Family Islands, several Family Islands as well as right here in New Providence. So Water and Sewage is constantly doing work. We may not always showcase and highlight it, but I guarantee you we're always working and extending and expanding our system.
Yeah, in terms of climate change, how important is it for people to have water going directly to their houses?
Piped potable water is definitely a necessity, and believe it or not, it's one of the Sustainable Development Goals that the country is signed on to. I think that's SDG 6, of piped potable water. Yeah. And so part of that commitment is that by 2030, we have I think it's somewhere in the region of 95% of our inhabitants and residents have access to this piped potable water. Right. The corporation remains committed to this goal, and I think we're coming very close to achieving that. And you say the importance of it. I have a colleague who often jokes that in most cases, not all, in most cases, electricity is a luxury, but water is always a necessity. So it's definitely something from that perspective. When we think about hygiene, cleanliness, we've just recently come out of the whole pandemic. Yeah. Water is a necessity. We clean, piped, potable water is a necessity. We want to ensure that, again, even if persons aren't able to get out, because in Family Islands, we have where persons may still have to go to a tank or wait for water to be trucked. Again, it's the ease of being able to turn on a pipe in your home and have clean water come out, and that's something that we're committed to doing.
Yeah, you mentioned 95%. You know how close we are to that?
I don't have an exact figure for you, but again, we're getting very close to achieving that. And again, we have several projects that are in the works as well. We're working with Caribbean Development Bank, the external lending agency, as well as the Inter-American Development Bank, Green Climate Fund. So we have a lot of international vendors who are interested in assisting and ensuring that we meet this goal in a timely fashion.
Oh, well. What about just in terms of public awareness about water safety, whatever that might look like? What's going on there?
Well, we actually have an upcoming campaign that we'll be launching very soon. It's one of the consultancies under the Caribbean Development Bank, is a public education and awareness campaign. And so you'll soon see and hear a lot more from us regarding water safety and just the uses of water and how to avoid misuse of water. That's something we want to highlight as well. Another aspect of it, for sure, is data collection. We want to ensure that even during our education and awareness campaigns, that we're able to collect as much data as possible. See how, again, like you asked me the question about some of the metrics. We want to be able to have firm metrics that we can measure. Part of what the lending agencies also require from us, and not just us, water and sewage, but regionally and globally, they like the data, they like the metrics. And what we found, not just in the Bahamas, but regionally, is that there is a major lack of baseline data collection. So there is a strong campaign regionally, believe it or not, for us to develop this baseline data. Oftentimes, the baseline data can be anywhere from 10 to 30 years worth of information. What we often rely on here in the Caribbean is hearsay. Told great-grandmother or great, down the line, well, this happened. And, so we know at some point something occurred. A tsunami occurred, a tornado occurred, but where is it really documented?
Right.
And again, it's beyond making things New Providence-centric, but ensuring that we capture all of the family islands as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of where things stand with our reverse osmosis plants, and I know there were some being put in place on certain islands. Can you just give an update on where some of those are? Are they all done? Or, I know there was some expansion of some.
Well, again, we continue to grow and expand. I think the one that's upcoming is for Cat Island. Cat Island will be having 2 reverse osmosis plants placed on that particular island to facilitate the persons there. Under the CDB project, we would have installed a portion of the pipe work for that island. And under this current public-private partnership with the Cat Island Development Company, we're extending the system now to the entire island. A separate contract is being executed for the reverse osmosis plants, but the intent is that those will be installed. And so that's one of the expansion of plants, because what we find is once the utilities are in place, that's water, power, communication, persons tend to migrate back to those areas. Right. And so you would have a lot of the increase in the economy, increase in development, and so that also requires us to upsize our system, sometimes sooner than we had anticipated, because if there's a boom in a particular economy, the growth may occur a little faster than what we would have planned for. And again, it's making sure that we place ourselves where we can pivot quickly and adapt to whatever is going on.
And I guess it's important when you think of climate change to have backups, power redundancies, those kinds of things in place.
And that's definitely part of our focus as well. We've done some initial assessments of at least 17 of our sites where we would have considered the possibility for solar. And so we actually are taking some steps at what we can do for alternative energy at our location, specifically with powering a lot of our plants and booster stations, our RO plants and booster stations, where those can really be the source of a lot of our energy use. So we're seeing how best we can at least, if not completely, but offset our energy use. So those are things that we're definitely exploring from one aspect, but we want to be sure that we think about it holistically in the sense of close the loop. We don't want to do a part climate or part environmental type project, and I say that in the sense of, and I just had a conversation with someone about this morning. We don't want to necessarily purchase fleets of electric vehicles and then still have them plugged into a fossil fuel-based charger.
Right.
So we want to see how best we can close the loop and not just scratch at the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the kind of immediate concerns and threats to water and sewage, things that maybe households can do themselves to help you guys along with fixing these things?
Well, it's for persons to be cognizant, specifically with households. Be cognizant of how you're using your water. We don't want persons to waste water. If you're experiencing what you would consider a high reading on your, if you have your meter and you consider it a high reading and it's like, why is my bill so high? Consider that you may have, these are things that on the consumer end that you can do. If you realize that it's not a leak on your end, maybe it's a leak on the corporation's end, and it's just a matter of alerting us to whatever the situation may be so that we can then address it. We're not in a position where we want to hurt or harm persons, or we're simply trying to shake persons down for additional funds, because in reality, the corporation is probably the most cost-effective utility we currently have on island. And so we want to ensure that we continue to provide persons with this service as best as possible. But I would say just ensure persons aren't misusing the water. And another thing I want to mention as well is we don't often talk about drought so much in the country. But it's something that we should be concerned about and maybe highlight a little more, where persons aren't misusing the water resource, especially when you see we haven't had rain in quite some time. And I'm not saying that's where our water comes from, because we utilize saltwater reverse osmosis, meaning that we get our water from deep wells. But it's still being cognizant about a natural resource that we have. Please don't waste it watering your grass in the heat of the day, you know, as opposed to something. And it's I know it's all small things that we can do, but it's just being, like I say, a little more cognizant and aware of your resource using it.
Yeah. And you guys are doing a great job at fixing the leakages in the system around the island. We keep getting stories from Maya and the new technology that's being used. Maybe you could tell us about the technology and stuff that's being used.
Well, definitely. I think we had just a little publicity a while back that we're introducing digital meters. And so this is going to be an aspect that's going to help us considerably with non-revenue water, which is typically from leaks. So it's going to place us in a position where we can better and more effectively and efficiently locate these leaks and address them in a timely fashion. Again, but if persons see leaks, if you see pools of water and it hasn't rained, if you see, water spouting out of the road, we know the road doesn't leak. So if you see that, please contact the offices, and our team is more than ready and able to go out and address these areas. We don't always see them firsthand, but again, the sooner that we see it, the better. And I think our maintenance team, our New Providence Operations Department is doing an awesome job. Waste and leaks, they're doing a great job in addressing these in a timely fashion.
Excellent. Do we have a call coming in for this? Do we have a call?
We have a call.
Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business. You have a call for water and sewage? Question for water and sewage?
Yes, good morning to you and your guests.
Good morning.
Compliment on water and sewage over the years, because they have been giving us good product. Because back in the day, remember, we used to have the yellow water.
Yes, we had the yellow and the red water, yes.
And also, I have a little concern that I think is quite disingenuous to the general public, the water and sewage is doing, right? Because in order for you to get occupancy, you have to have first connection to water and sewage. But suppose the general public doesn't want to use water and sewage, they want to use a well. The general public can no longer use the well, opposed to water and sewage as a primary source of water.
Okay, thanks for the question.
Yeah, I would say, well, my comment to that would be it's similar to any utility with BPL. Oftentimes, persons want to remain off the grid and utilize solar, but once BPL is available in that particular area, you are still mandated to get your occupancy requirements from BPL, and it's similar to water and sewage. Not because you have a well, or not because you have, let me rephrase, not because you have a water and sewage connection means that you must utilize the water. They have a well, and they prefer using the well, and they use water and sewage as a redundancy. Because, again, one of the things we want to highlight is water and sewage is not tied to BPL in the sense of once the light goes off, we still provide water.
Right.
You're still able to shower and use your facilities as you need to. So once you have the letter or the requirements from water and sewage, you are not required to use the water that's provided, the city water provided. However, you will be required to get a meter. Again, it's just part of the Physical Planning Ministry of Works requirements. It's not a direct mandate to water and sewage, although we would prefer that persons utilize our resource because, again, while persons have private wells, you have to be committed to maintaining that well, committed to maintaining the quality of the water and not chlorinating as it needs to and getting the necessary testing done. So it's more so from a health perspective that we advocate for persons to sign on to our system. And thank you again, caller, for that. We have improved considerably. And so, again, we want to commend our lab, the laboratory efforts who go out and they do the necessary testing and chlorination. And so, again, we are working with it. But, again, that's not a requirement that's solely from water and sewage mandated by water.
Do you often, I guess, tell people with private wells about how to manage those things? Because I don't know if people think about the maintenance and how often they have to deal with things
Again, we do our
Maybe
best.
they don't even do it.
I know a lot of persons don't do it, and we actually recently had a campaign where we would have gone through and done private well testing for persons who were signed on to water and sewage, and we found, I'll put it this way, we found less than favorable results in over 95% of those tests.
That's scary.
It's very scary, again, because when we think about the placement of our well, how close is it to not just maybe your septic tank or your septic system, but who's around you? And again, what's the radius of influence? So while you may have an enclosed septic tank system that's rated and whatever the case may be, your private well may be located next to an unsanctioned business who's just simply dumping their refuse in their backyard. You know, these are things we don't often consider. You know, when you're taking a shower and you come out and all of a sudden your skin a little itchy, your eyes are irritated, or you know, something of the sort. We don't often think that it could be tied to the water that we're using. So we do encourage persons to, even if you're not testing your well, at least chlorinate it frequently. And this doesn't require any great level of science per se. It's purchasing some chlorine tablets or even using some liquid chlorine and pouring it down your well and then permitting your water to run off until you no longer have that harsh scent and smell. And then you're able to utilize the water. So again, when we encourage persons to get on our system, it's so from a health aspect, and we like to partner with Public Hospital Authority, Ministry of Health as well, so that they can help validate that message, that we're not simply coming for your money. We want to ensure that we're providing a clean, safe resource for the public.
How often does Water and Sewage do testing of its water?
We test our water frequently. For New Providence, we test at least once a week, and in Family Islands, it can be at least once a month, if not more.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good. Do you find private wells get inundated with salt water as well?
Again, you can experience over abstraction of your private well because, again, it's you're coming from the water table. This is why I say during drought specifically, if the water table is not being recharged, then there is the risk of over abstraction, which leads to the salt water intrusion. So salt water can then enter your well, and this could change your filter more frequently. Buy more agents for water softening to make sure that you're at least protecting your fixtures. You find sometimes if that's not the case, your fixtures are going bad every few months. So these are all things that, like I said, need to be factored in when you have a private well that we don't often consider. And again, it's not to knock a private well because I think everyone should have some form of redundancy. But it's just to ensure that we are doing what's required to maintain it as best as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And please note that the corporation also does offer water testing. So if that's a service you're interested in, that's something that we provide as well for your private well testing.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what people should consider when it comes to climate change and water and sewage and just water in general as things get worse? I don't know. Better? I don't know what's happening, to be honest.
I would say, well, how best to answer that? What to expect from us is that we're going to continue to make every effort that we can to be proactive with respect to climate change, climate adaptation, and climate mitigation. There are several environmental agencies throughout the Bahamas that are doing their endeavor best to ensure that they not only exercise and enforce these regulations and legislation, but that they are also advocates for it as well. So even with the corporation, we've partnered with several of the local environmental agencies to ensure that we remain on the right track as well. And part of, particularly with external lenders, is that we usually have an environmental and social impact assessment, or that we have some environmental aspect or component of the project. So it does help to keep us in check and to make sure that we are not just doing regional, but global best practices as best as possible for the execution of our projects. The corporation's motto is that we're committed to growth, committed to quality, and so we want to ensure that we provide a quality product through the selection of our material, through the selection of our sites, and just in what it is we're able to give our customers. And so that's what we're really focused on in the coming time. And we hope to be able to remain in a position where we can pivot and adapt as quickly as things change, because we see that things are changing, I would say, more rapidly than we ever anticipated. I use the example that no one would ever expect that we would have gotten a Hurricane Dorian so quickly after we had a Hurricane Matthew. So we have to be in that position where we can pivot quickly, we can make these rapid decisions as need be, and that we are able to remain a high standard utility provider.
Yeah. I'll just quickly ask you about sewerage tie-in. I think there was a plan or something for more of an extensive tie-in system for sewerage?
Definitely, there's a level, and there will be a push for more sewage connections. I would say that water and sewage, there has been a heavy focus on the water side, but I would say nationally, there's only about 30% worth of our customers who are tied into a sewer system based on availability as well. So it is something that we're looking at on a larger scale to definitely expand our sewer system, but it's ensuring, like I say, that we close the loop. We don't simply want to put in sewer lines and then we're stockpiling all of the refuse at the end. We have to make sure that we are able to process what we collect as well. And so it's a larger system to look at, but definitely something that the corporation is committed to doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great conversation, and I thank you. Anything you wanted to add?
At this point, no. Again, just thank you so much. Thank you, Guardian Radio, for the opportunity to have this discussion this morning. Again, we want to remind persons that climate change is something that impacts each and every one of us holistically. So while we've spent all this time talking about water, we have to be mindful that water is also tied to forestry, which is also tied to aspects of agriculture, which is tied to, tourism, which is tied to just everything that we do. So it's not about just looking at climate change from water and sewage perspective in a silo, but just understanding the larger impact it has on us as a nation, as a community, and ensuring that we all do our part as best as possible. Let's just slow down a little bit and think about what we're doing and how we're doing it and do better.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Caribbean, and I know that the corporation has received lots of accolades from regionally, especially about how well you do maintain the systems and services in the Bahamas.
Yeah, we definitely have received some accolades from the Caribbean Wastewater Association. There are some other regional entities as well, but definitely like I said, we pride ourselves on doing as best we can and adapting to the best practices around the globe as possible. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Eli Isaacs, thank you so much for talking to us today about that. A lot of good information.
Thank you, listeners. Hope everyone has a blessed day.
Yeah, so we're going to go to a break and be back with morning business report right after this.
Play. You left on the water running, or when you left me behind, baby. Now you left all the water running. It's running from these eyes of mine.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
At Simplified Lending, we've unscrambled the loan process, making it fast and hassle-free. Personal, business, medical. You apply, we'll reply in as little as 24 hours. Call us today at 603-1730 or stop by Simplified Lending in the R&D Plaza on JFK Drive. Simplified Lending for simplified living.
Simplified Lending for simplified living. Simplified Lending for simplified living.
The signs are clear. It's time to pay less for your current mortgage by switching to Scotiabank. Enjoy lower interest rates and no payments up to 2 months when you switch to Scotiabank today. Plus, we'll even pay your switch costs. It's that easy. Ready to switch to Scotiabank? Call us today at 242-356-1697 or visit bs.scotiabank.com to switch your mortgage to become mortgage-free faster.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
You've heard of electric cars. Now it's time you drive one. Easy Car Sales welcomes you to experience the power and prestige of the latest electric vehicles. Plug in at home for a 65% discount off your gas bill and never get stuck at the pump again. Build your dreams of a better future with a better car, the BYD EV. Visit easy242.com to book your free test drive today. Save your money while driving in style, only at Easy Car Sales.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. Prime Minister Philip Davis, in his contribution to the debate on the Electricity Bill 2024 and the Natural Gas Bill 2024, yesterday said the new electricity bill leaves no room for interpretation on which entity is the regulator for the Grand Bahama Power Company, though there's been ongoing dispute between the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority and the Grand Bahama Port Authority over this very issue. Davis said, quote, "This bill also recognizes ERCA as the regulatory authority for Grand Bahama, and this is nothing new. This government has always maintained that the Electricity Act and ERCA's regulatory authority extends to the Grand Bahama Power Company. So this is nothing new. This view will now be reflected in the law." Ministers called the recently tabled electricity bill an atrocity and the biggest hoax to ever be perpetrated on the Bahamian people. Minnis, in his contribution to the debate on the Electricity Bill 2024 and Natural Gas Bill 2024, said, "Any member on the opposite side who votes for this bill will have this atrocity on your conscience for the rest of your life. It is that bad." Minnis added, "In this bill, BPL is being given the authority to form joint venture companies that cannot be held insult to injury. BPL will be allowed to transfer their assets to these companies, so the equipment and the land that the Bahamian people now own will be transferred to private companies." And Texas-based Eagle LNG Partners and locally based Elnet Lightering are set to begin their liquefied natural gas bunkering service ship-to-ship in Grand Bahama this Friday. Minister of Energy and Transport Jo Beth Colby Davis said yesterday during her contribution to the debate on the Electricity Bill 2024 and Natural Gas Bill 2024. She said, quote, "Currently, LNG is being imported, used, and transported in the Bahamas. As we speak, I'm advised that the bunkering exercise that will be commencing on Grand Bahama will be starting the end of this week. So LNG is in full use in our country. However, there is no regulatory framework for this activity." The Grand Bahama Port Authority needs direction before shares in the company can be given out to Bahamians, said James Carey, president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce. Carey told Guardian Business that Bahamians being allowed to buy that will regulate the Freeport area is quote, fine and good, but we need to know where the GBPA is going and where the government is going with Grand Bahama. And a manager for a cement manufacturer expects the company's growth to triple this year due to the high volume of business throughout the country. Alejandra Rivas, country manager for Cemex Bahamas, told Guardian Business yesterday that the company is making a huge investment in Arawak Key with renovations to its headquarters, particularly its cement silos, because the market has increased by 10% versus last year. That's your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards along with Tej Grant And,
Good morning.
We're finished. We're going to round out the show. I just want to read this text message. I love it. This is about our guests who just left. We need to identify people as clearly competent and well-spoken as Mrs. Isaacs at each institution to speak to the nation about the state of the nation. No more politicians pretending they understand. Politicians can speak to their job, that is new laws and public policy. Well done, Mrs. Isaacs. And I absolutely agree with that, because some of the people who we have talked for some of these places are like,
What you trying to say, man? What you trying to say? You trying to say that I have to be a doctor to speak on medical issues? That's what you're trying to say?
Me, I ain't trying to say nothing. I said it. I said it. I said it.
And that's the issue we have, because this country is small, and a lot of people out there, when they hear a politician say something, they would take that over what is being said by the professional, over by what is being said by someone who is well versed in that field. And so, yes, I do agree with you. And I was just cracking a joke just now.
Yeah. While we have a few minutes left, I just want to go back to what Michael Pintard said when we had him on a call earlier.
Yes.
Just about the future of the country and GDP growth, and how it's tied to the prosperity of Bahamians, but Bahamians at large are not being allowed to prosper. There's a small group of people, the phrase, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Yeah. Well, in this country, and I'm sure lots of people feel the same way, there is a tight-knit group that keep the money in their circle. There are entrepreneurs who use their political affiliations in this country, and in a lot of cases, they don't reach back, and not reach back to pass a baton, or to reach forward to hand a baton, because the baton is go to your teammate.
Right.
I'm talking about reaching into communities and helping, somebody you don't know, helping, like Ken Danique was talking about. Ken Danique, a lot of people probably shudder at the idea of cold calling somebody to ask for a favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But
yes.
What about the other side, right? What about somebody seeing a person, they working hard to try to achieve something, but they're not. But you have something that they need, and you could just go say, "Hey, I see you trying to get this. Let me help you." Right? I'm gonna be this guy and say, like, people get caught up in business plans. Like, there's some people who can't write a business plan, who can't afford to pay for a business plan to be written, who don't even, but they have a great idea, or they even trying to start this idea, and you got something that you could give them, right? That costs you maybe nothing,
right?
But you don't. But you don't even do it.
Yeah. It's. I want people to, and if there's an opportunity to go back and extract what Mr. Pintard said earlier in the show, I want people to pay attention to what he's saying. And just what you said just now, he's alluding to the richer, they're getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer because of the lack of opportunity. And it's not because people don't know how to do things, or it's not because people are not ambitious or motivated.
It's not because opportunities don't exist.
It's not this. It's because there are greedy people amongst us who are taking all the opportunities for themselves.
Yep.
And people come up with business plans, and instead of partnering with the people who can execute these business plans properly, they pay money, good money, because they know they can buy them out, to do the same thing that these people are doing. Take their business idea and completely capitalize off of it, leaving this person high and dry.
Yep.
That's what happens, and it has happened before in this country. And now we have Pintard calling it out as a leader of the opposition, saying that these are some of the issues that he would like to change.
Yeah.
if he's given the opportunity to lead the country. And so I want people to pay attention to that, because I don't think that aligns. And hear me out. I don't think that aligns with our party politics today in the Bahamas. I don't think that aligns with the FNM's party. I don't think that aligns with the PLP's party. I think what he's proposing basically is something that's completely brand new, and something that would put a lot of fear in a lot of people who are already in position to do a lot of great things, who already have access to this wealth.
Yeah.
And so I want people to pay attention to that. That's significant what he said earlier on in this show.
He said, don't come to him with no talk about you scratch my back, I scratch yours, because I ain't want marks on my back.
He said, I don't like marks on my back.
I don't like marks. I never heard that one. That's a good one. But again, it's something we could hold him to.
We could hold him to, because we know that politicians, before they get in government, they say anything. They say anything to capture the attention of the people.
Yeah.
We talk about, in the age of social media, we talk about clickbait.
Yep.
And we talk about people who like try to draw you in based on their post. So the post may not be accurate, and it may be worded in a way that may trigger you to give a response, because that's what the creator of that post wants you to do. They want you to interact. They want you to be hooked into that post. And so what they do is they post these very extravagant things, and then when a little later on you find out that things are not exactly the way they explained it. It's a bit of an exaggeration, you know. And so we hope that Pintard is not doing that today. We hope that this is not something that he's calling out today and saying, you know, I really didn't mean that once he gets in power.
Right.
That happened, and I hope it doesn't continue to happen, but that happened before. And so it's a new day, you know, and people, I hope people are able to hold these politicians accountable. It starts with this right here.
Well, that's the most important thing. Is this the same person who keep trying to call? Let's take this call.
Yeah, let's take a caller.
Let's take this call. Yeah, good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to you, Jess.
Good morning.
Who's that never do, Jessica?
No, Teach.
Oh, Teach.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, Teach.
Morning.
Just called to make a quick comment on something that you said just now. It's the redistribution of wealth in the country that will lead to an unraveling of the status quo that by all means makes those who already have access and are not selfless with their access, but are indeed selfish with their access, would make them most uncomfortable. And by and large, it is certainly not a common practice amongst the elite, nor the political elite in the country. And it used to be a mandate and a mantra of the original administration. And we've slowly seen the dwindling down to almost a marginal impact of the redistribution of wealth in the country, and putting policies in place to deliberately ensure that such takes place. And so I believe, I'll end right here, whichever prime minister and whichever government does that successfully, that will be the government that will retain leadership and power in our country through at least 2 election cycles, and possibly even more, along with some other factors, but certainly economic empowerment. In other words, majority economic rule. Whoever gets that right will enjoy the confidence of the Bahamian people, along with some other necessary changes and status quo back-breaking policies that in the country. Thank you all for the opportunity.
Yep, thank you. God bless you. To appreciate that.
Look, disclosure. Disclosure. That's the name. That's the word today. Disclosure. I would like, and Pintard said this, and this is important. This is something that should be done. if you're running for politics, you should have to disclose where you get all of your funds. Every cent has to be accounted for. And that gives the people a good view, just like Pintard said, of who is putting money in the pockets of these people who are out campaigning. So when they're in government, you can exactly see, okay, this person is involved with that. This is a government contract for this. So okay, so we could tie it together now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what Pintard was saying in essence. There's some way for us to track all of this and ensure that best practices are being used when these politicians are accepting money from donors.
Yeah. That's a tough pill to swallow in Bahamian politics, that a politician who could be the leader of a political party,
of the Free National Movement,
would say, I love you and I appreciate your support, but when we win, don't think I owe you anything.
I don't owe you nothing, right? And that's not how the country has been ran.
No,
it's not. And I'm not. And I think it's time for a change.
Absolutely.
Me personally, I think it's time for a change. I think it's time we do things properly. But we can't ignore the fact that what he said could put his chances at jeopardy of leading that party into the next general election.
Yeah.
That's reality.
Because absolutely. Because why do you fund a party? Like, why do you give them money? Really?
Right.
Because you want something.
Or like this. I know some individuals who give both parties money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why would they do that? Why would you give the PLP money and then turn around and give them money?
Yeah.
And if we have full disclosure, if the public sees that, what would that say about that person, or what would that say about the person that's receiving the funds? Are they doing any vetting as far as who is giving me money? Where's this money coming from? Because I think that's important too. Who's putting money into their campaign and supporting them to become the leader of whatever constituency, or the MP of whatever constituency. And, because these people are investing directly in their goals. In their personal goals at that. Not goals for the nation, but personal goals.
We should write out a list of what we are okay with those people who fund political parties paying for, because you're paying for something. Like the list of what we're not okay for about is probably very long. But I'm okay with you paying for an ambassadorship, right? When your party win and now we gotta replace ambassadors and put them in this place and that place, you could have that. You paid for that. That's cool. Once you could speak English and not embarrass us, I don't mind you paying for them, have tea parties and go to events. I mean, what do ambassadors do? And people, right, in the foreign service.
Yeah.
You're just a figurehead. But don't come with your hand out asking for a contract. Again, no bid contract.
Right.
Because you give me $500,000 for my election.
Exactly. I have problems with both, because even when you're representing us into that capacity, you're overseas representing the country. I think there are opportunities in that. There are opportunities within that these people are exposed to, that somebody else who probably deserves that position is not exposed to. And so even that to me is like, no, you can't have that.
The problem is people can tell you be realistic. Let's be realistic about politics and the way things are. So you got to give something to somebody.
In being real, I want us to also realize that being rich and wealthy doesn't equate to being intelligent, smart, or sharp. No. It doesn't. And we need intelligent, sharp, and bright people to rep the waters.
Absolutely.
And so when we have these people who are not like that, it makes me wonder, why are we putting them there? They have to be able to articulate themselves to these people and not embarrass us, right? So that means that if it's not a plural, don't use plurals. If the subject and verbs got to agree, like basics. And so these are the things that I'm concerned about. But we just can't give positions to anybody who's shelling out money. That's not how politics should work. And that's the beginning and the root of corruption.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
I'm going to call it for what it is.
Absolutely.
It's the beginning and the root of corruption. Whenever you have wealthy people giving politicians money, and then when you find out that they're giving both parties money, it's like, what are we doing here? What's happening? Why are you giving both parties money? We know why. I know why.
Yeah.
But can we somehow disclose this to the public? And can the public have full transparency on this whole process? And now that Pintard has said this, we can ask the questions. People in the media, I hope they're listening as well, because they can ask the questions directly to Pintard now. And if he's still the leader after the summer, they can ask the questions to whoever else is running under him.
Yeah.
Who's giving you money? We want to know. Disclose, even though you don't have to, but just still disclose, if you can.
We've been talking about campaign finance reform for so long. But anyway, we talk a lot.
We need a lot of reform. And there's plenty of reform, but the country is still growing, and I want people to understand that too. The West is how many years old now? Like 200,
Yeah.
But the Bahamas is still a very, very new country. My dad graduated high school. My dad and my mom were married before the Bahamas had independence.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's how new the country is. So things take time, but it's also okay to want better. And so that's what we're agitating for here.
Absolutely. This person's probably agreeing with you by saying, I assure you the Chinese ambassador was not a figurehead. I don't know if I've ever heard a more intelligent person speak. Great command of history and international relations. But China's a different beast, to be honest. So,
it is.
But
you can't compare China to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And their politics. You're talking about $1 billion, and you want to match that to 400,000 maybe. It's just no comparison.
Yeah. Well, look, a last text message coming in. Chester, you did a piss poor job this morning at taking calls. Too much talk between you and your co-host. Y'all could chat between breaks, bro. Take the calls, please. Hate when you connect the caller but never bring them on. The caller is cut or left holding for nothing. Thank you. No problem. You got your text message through, though.
Didn't get to speak today.
You got your text message through, though. I got you, or at least on one front. Call back tomorrow. Call back tomorrow. The show might allow for more calls.
Hey, just let them know we don't care. We really don't care.
The show might allow for more calls tomorrow. That's the show, though. That's the end of the show.
It was a pleasure. It was fun.
Yeah, man. Always appreciate you, Teach. I'm back tomorrow, and it's my last day. So let's be good to each other, and I'll see you tomorrow. On the Clock with Aaron Green, up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.